Well. The industry that has been actively pushing a product that its consumers have been vociferously telling it again and again and again and again that they don't actually want is having financial difficulties. A shocker, to be sure. Next, you'll tell me that being fat has to do with eating too much food rather than the patriarchy. Well, we're not actually quite there just yet, but hey, baby steps, baby steps. As the video game entertainment industry has been seeing mass layoffs, as has the various industries related to it as well, as Twitch is announcing that it is laying off 500 people too, because its staffing strategy was a pinch too optimistic. Now, if we were to be optimistic, this might be Twitch shedding its diversity initiative hires, much like many of the video game companies undoubtedly are doing as well. Because as times get leaner, the first people to get to the boot are those who don't actually produce anything, and are simply just continuous costs. As they. We've talked about this many times over the course of the last few years, haven't we? The reason why so many entertainment entities went woke was because it was literally easier to earn money via investment rather than selling a product. Making a quality product is hard. Making a series of checklist boxes, depending upon gender, racial type, etc., and the sexual preferences of your characters, that's pretty damn simple. But the layoffs aren't just hitting the video game industry, which also has been going for quite some time. BlackRock, the great big evil of the world, is also cutting some 600 jobs. I believe that was, yes, here we go, 3% of its global workforce. That's a pretty damn severe cut for a $9 trillion company. And this is primarily, in all due likelihood, in their ESG-facing sectors, as they have also announced that BlackRock's advisors will no longer need to look at the ESG scoring of companies they are investing in. In other words, the checkboxes no longer actually matter. You can't get extra money simply by adding in people with the correct skin color in your video game. No matter how diverse you are, video game companies are actually going to have to do, sales now. They're actually going to have to move copies off the shelves and into the hands of consumers, rather than simply sitting there with their hands out, waiting for them to be filled with other people's money. Weird, that. And this is an accelerating trend, as back in 2022, there were also mass layoffs in the video game and entertainment industry, with some 7,000 odd people, which constitutes a 716% increase from 2022. So yeah, 2023 was a rather bloody year for video games. And this one is going to be a hell of a lot worse. If we are within our first 10 days, and we are seeing 2,300 plus firings, and in total last year there were 7,000. Oh yeah, it is going to be a slaughter. And it is only going to get worse. First and foremost because the investment money simply isn't going to be there anymore, but also because a lot of these employees are frankly just going to be superfluous to demands. There was another recent interesting thing. Actors raised concern at a groundbreaking SAG-AFTRA AI voice agreement. So the precise details about this agreement are still a little bit sketchy, but it appears as if the voice acting unions have come to some sort of agreement with the studios concerning AI use in voices. Now, this probably is still going to be relatively restrictive, but the important thing is to recognize that this is technology that now exists. Voice acting will not require people within a few more years. And indeed, if game companies arrive at the point where you can have organic conversations with NPCs, and there are already demos showing this, now they are far from perfect, mind you, but we already have Radiant AI that is capable of hearing you speak to them and formulating a response to your words in real time. We are no more than 2 or 3 years, half a decade at most, from this technology not only being functional, but probably being commonplace, which will literally replace all of the voice actors. It'll also cut out a tremendous deal of the writing staff as well, as all you'll really need to come up with is a personality characteristic for the individual. If you're talking to a mob boss, for example, he's going to be aggressive or bellicose, etc., and his responses are going to need to reflect that. If you're going to be talking to a corporate stooge, he might be submissive or willing to tell you about his latest patent or something like that. And that is only the beginning. Steam will now accept the vast majority of games using AI generation, but only with disclosures. So Steam has had a little bit of a back and forth with games using AI-generated assets, because legalistically speaking, this is still a very, grey area, because we don't really know who owns the copyright, for example. That's one of the issues. Can you copyright AI art? And if so, who owns the copyright? You who generated it, the company who made the tool, or the AI itself? Like, who exactly has a propriety over this? And Steam, of course, needs to know that, because if they don't, they could be hit with copyright suits that they don't really know how to respond to. If the guy who's made the game doesn't hold the copyright, but the company that made the AI, well, now Steam is liable for having copyright infringement material on their service. So there are going to be a lot of special rules coming up around this. But the ease of using AI for game development, already in its infancy, is going to be enormous. Within 10 years, probably less, honestly, we are going to see artists become superfluous in many regards. You're not going to need people to paint backgrounds, for example. You're not going to need people to paint cities. You're not even really going to need people to paint characters. All you need is one person to make the character design. And then, once you've got that design, you feed it into an AI, and it can produce an infinite amount of variations. You want the character to hold up a hand? There you go. You want them to lift a leg? There you go. You want them to have a completely different set of clothes? Ask the AI to make 100 different outfits, and it's done. Programming as well. There will obviously be need for programming people to make the AI, duh. There'll be need for programming people to bug fix the AI. But even then, once you have the AI looking over their shoulders, the AI will learn and go, oh, that's what I did wrong there. Okay, I won't make that mistake again. Or, oh, that's how you solve that. I see. We are going to enter into a period where so many jobs within this are just going to disappear. And companies will be able to make products far cheaper and far faster, which is also going to be absolutely necessary because, again, they can't afford the employees they have. If you've got a game company that uses regular employees, they are going to have vastly more massive costs in terms of employees than a company that uses AI. Now, again, these tools are still in their infancy. We're not there just yet, but it seems inconceivable that we will not arrive at that point, and arrive at that point soon. There will obviously still be markets for handcrafted things, of course, just as there is today. We can mass produce just about everything in today's world with our technology, but we still sell handcrafted things, and the handcrafted things can even be generally agreed upon to have a greater value. There will always be a market for it, but it will become more and more and more and more niche, until eventually it'll only exist in the darker corners of the internet. And the companies will be the first to reject this, because handcrafted things is all about passion, it's all about craftsmanship, it's all about something human, something made by a human. AAA studios have never cared about that. BioWare's never cared about that. The very fact that they embrace ESG and investment money rather than pleasing their customers is the irrefutable proof of this statement. Any company that would rather have money from a faceless third-party corporate donor than from the people who actually enjoy their video games will not look twice at the idea of firing people and replacing them with AI. The great video game crash caused undisputably so, bi-wokeism has only just begun. It is only going to be escalating, and it is going to be getting a hell of a lot worse for the entertainment industry. I can absolutely guarantee it. And you know what? 10 years ago, I would be outraged by that. I would be horrified at the idea that we would lose the passion, the drive, the human element in video games that gave us Sacrifice, that gave us Hitman, that gave us Deus Ex. But today, well, I'm not getting those things anyways. So you know what? Sit on the L and spin, gaming industry. I'll be over here clapping. Until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you all again soon. Have a good day.